Welcome back to a new video, and on this occasion is the Elektron model cycles. Everything on this guide is in chapters. If you look at the description or the timeline, you can jump to a section or skip the ones you don't want. If you like all of this, please like and subscribe. This channel is supported by viewers only. If you want to buy me a coffee to say thanks and help the channel keep going on, you can. You have links at the description for PayPal, YouTube Thanks, and Patreon. Alright, so let's talk about patterns, banks, tracks, and projects. How this works is by using projects. Right here, you need to go to settings, and when you're in settings, you have a lot of different options, patterns, then projects, and here is where you manage and configure everything. You have options for the device, but in this case, I care about projects. If you go to the projects one, you need to push the encoder, the level data, to enter, and right here you can see all the different projects that you get. The first one says stock because it's the one you get from factory, but you can create up to, and I'm gonna go all the way up to 96 different projects. Now in this case, I'm gonna go back and notice that the one that I'm loading is the 01, the one that you get from factory. If you want to get out of a screen, you just need to press the back and it will just go back. So from factory, you get that project, and by default, you get some patterns ready for you. And each project can contain up to 96 different patterns divided on 6 different banks. To change the different patterns, what you need to do is you need to go to pattern, and once you do so, you just need to select one of the 6 different banks. If I go to the number 2, it will load 16 different patterns that you can store on the bank 2. The 3, it's completely empty from factory. 5 and 6 are empty, but I'm going to go to the 1, and if I want to load the project number, 3, I'm just going to press it, and right there at the top, it will let you know on which project you're standing. And also, it lets you know which track that you have loaded. If I go to number 1, it's going to let you know on the display. And of course, to play it back, it just needs to do play, and it will play back whatever pattern that you selected. If you want to select a new pattern, just hold the pattern and maybe go, to bank number 2, and it's going to let you know right here. I'm going to go to number 4, and as soon as the previous pattern is done playing, it's going to play back the next pattern. This is how it works. It's going to cue in the next pattern. And at the top, again, you can see which pattern that you are loading. I'm going to go back to the A1. If you want to stop the playback, you just do stop. Now, each of the patterns will use one of the 6 tracks that you have available right here. And how the tracks work is that you use different machines to select the different sounds that you have available, like kick, snare, and so on, and so on, and so on. Now, each track can use a preset, so you can create a different preset, store it on the local memory, and then just reuse it on your different patterns. Now, we're going to talk about this much later. First, I'm going to show you how to navigate the device and how to create some patterns. I'm going to play back the track, and right here, you can tap tempo. You can go there, and it will show you the tempo, and you can go up with the level data in tempo, or you can go down. Pretty easy, right? So I'm gonna stay on 120, which is the default one. What you could do function, and with the level data, you can fine tune the tempo. All right, so cool. Now another thing that you can do is that you can tap tempo. If I do function, I'm gonna get out of the screen. I'm gonna hold the function, and I'm gonna be tapping to get a different tempo. And if you go right there, it's going to be 173. So I'm going to do something a little bit more normal. 129, I guess, is fine. Now, when playing back a track, what you can do with the function, if you hold it, you can mute the different tracks that are playing. If I want to mute the kick, this one is muted, and the only one that is playing is going to be the number 6 in this case. And if I even mute this one, of course, we just get nothing. Now, to unmute it, it's just the same. You just need to hold the function and just tap the tracks that you want to unmute. Now, I'm going to maybe just mute all of this, and I'm going to release it. So I know that the T6 is the only track that it's not unmuted. And I'm going to change patterns. I'm going to go to the pattern number 2. If, we load the pattern number 2, notice that all of this, nothing is going on. The only one that is working is the T6. If I want the other sounds, I need to unmute them. Now, how it works right here is that the mutes are global. If you mute something on pattern number 1 and then you change it, the tracks are going to stay muted. And this is a little bit different from the digitone, where you can, have a global mute or just, local, let's say, mutes. I'm gonna go back to the track number 1 because, it's just nice. Now, what you can do right here, a lot of the functions are gonna be with the level data. For example, if I stand, maybe I'm gonna be staying right here. And every time you just press a track, it lets you know that you are selecting that one. Now, with this encoder, what you do, you go up in volume. You can see it right here on the screen, or you can go down in volume for that track. This volume is going to be the main volume for the whole kit, for the whole device. If you hold the function, I'm going to stay on this one. If you hold the function, now you're going to be able to pan the sound to the right or to the left. Alright, so this is how you can navigate the different banks and patterns and some of the functions that you have right here. But in conclusion, you just choose a project, then you select a pattern, you create or assign sounds to the different tracks, and then again, you record your pattern by doing live recording or grid recording. Before I show you how everything else and how all the options in the params, how they work, I want to teach you how to create sequences. Once we create sequences, we're gonna just learn everything else. And okay, so let's learn how to create patterns. In the Elektron world, you have pretty much 2 ways of recording. You have live recording, and then you have grid recording. I'm going to start with live recording. First, I'm going to go to a pattern that has nothing. And if you remember, on the default project that it's write protected, you cannot erase it. I'm going to go to the 3 and I'm going to select the the 1. And in the case of this, it's going to be the bank C, not the 3. The tracks 3 is the bank C. Yeah, So if I play it back, of course, we have absolutely nothing. Now, when you load a default pattern, right here, maybe you can hear it, all the different tracks have sounds, and they have a default machine assigned, so they have a sound. And even if I'm tapping really aggressively, it's very hard to hear what I'm tapping, right? I need to go all the volume up. And this is because by default from factory, the pads are super sensitive. Now you can change how this works. Notice that the back is going to say pad menu. So you need to go to function and just go to pad menu, and it will give you a bunch of different options. For example, in this case, it's going to be fixed off. So the pads are not fixed, are just velocity sensitive. And then if you keep going down, of course, you have other options. In this case, what I care is about, configuring the velocity. You can end push the level data and enter and change it to off to something else. But something that you can do if you're back on, on the main screen, I'm going to go back to the main screen, you can hold the function and then the back for a couple of seconds, and it will toggle the velocity from on and off. On this guide, I'm going to be using the fixed velocity, so it's going to be always, super loud, and this is because I just don't have to hammer down the pads when I'm doing this. Now, we want to live record. How can we do this? We need to go to hold the record, just hold it, and then do play. When we do this, of course, all of this just will start, and notice that right now this is blinking. If it's blinking, it means that you're doing live record. Now, if you notice, there is no metronome. If you hold function, just hold it, then you have the gate at the bottom, it's going to say click. So this is the metronome. If you hold the function and you press it, it's going to be on and off, right? It's going to take you to the menu. But if you hold it, it's going to turn the click on or just off, right? So this is by holding. If you just tap it, it's going to take you to the configurations of the click, of the metronome, which is going to be the pre-count. If you want pre-count, I'm going to just show you what that is, the time signature and the volume. In this case, it's going to go a little bit up in volume. Now, whenever you start record, I'm going to do stop. It's going to pre-count 1 measure, 2, 3, 4, and then it will start recording. Now, you can again disable all of this when you go to the click menu right here at the bottom. You can see right there is check marked. If you want to remove it, you uncheck it, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so to live record, remember, hold, and then just press it, and it will start the recording. Now notice that right there at the top, it says quantize or unquantized. By doing the same thing, by holding the rec and pressing the play, it's going to change the quantization settings. Right now, if you play something, it's going to quantize it, but if you tap it again, it's going to disable the quantization. In this case, I'm going to be using the quantized. And okay, so this is the part where you record something live. I'm going to be recording some kicks. And I'm going to be doing some snares. And there you go. So you can use your pads to record something. Now, what if I want to record something else like, this synthesizer? Now, if I press it, it's going to record it, right? I want to select the sound, so I cannot do it because it will just record it. So you can hold the track, just press and hold, and you can silently select that track. That's how you can do it. If you want to select all the tracks, you can, without, of course, recording it. So now, if I want to record this, if I tap it, it's always going to be the same note. Now, when you are doing live record, you can use the different keys, and this will be a chromatic key. So if it will, they are just chromatic keys. And it will just record it. Cool. Now, of course, maybe you're wondering, is there a way we can, turn these keys or keyboard into using some scales or something like that? No, you cannot do it on the model cycles. This is something that you do on the Digitone, but at the back right here, you have the MIDI in and out, and this comes with the cables, so you can connect the MIDI controller and just, use your keys. Okay, so if you want to record again, you just, make sure that you're quantized or unquantized. In this case, I'm going to be using the quantized. And if I want to select these ones are going to be, hats. It's just going to do it for me. Now, if you are live recording, what you can do, if you want to stop recording, you can press the play and it will exit the live recording without, stopping playback. If you wish to stop the playback, you can press play and it will pause instead of stopping. So if I play it, it will continue from where we paused all of this. If you want to stop the playback, you just need to press stop. Now, one thing that you need to consider, and I'm going to be maybe going to this one, just to show you, I'm going to go reverb, I'm going to go like crazy. We're going to, of course, talk about this later. When I stop the playback, this means that it will stop playing the pattern, but the sound is going to keep going. Is that we get the delay and the reverb. So if you want to stop the playback completely, you just need to tap the stop multiple times. And that will kill the sound. What if you don't want whatever it is that you recorded? What you can do function and you can do clear, and right there it says sequence cleared. If I press play, we just get nothing. Now, when you do function clear or function copy or paste, depending on which mode you are, you're going to execute different functions. When you're stopped and you're doing function and then play again is sequence, is clearing the sequence. But if you made changes to the different tracks or sounds, this will not return everything back to default. For that, you will need to go to the menu if you want to, reset back to a init preset. If you want to reset everything back to default, you need to do it from here. I'm going to go to the settings and you need to go to pattern, just push to enter. And then you have different options like rename the pattern, save it, reload it. We will talk about this much later. But in this case, you have the clear. So when you push to enter, it's going to ask you, what do you want to delete? The whole damn thing? Well, that's going to be all data. Do you want to delete the sounds? The sound configuration, what we have right here? Well, that's going to be sound. And if you want to delete the sequence, is what we just did, function and clear to clear the sequence data. But in this case, we want to delete everything, the whole pattern, including whatever is that we did right here. So I'm going to be doing all data. I'm going to say yes, and there you go. So now if I play back the pattern, we just, you're back to a default pattern. All right, so that's it pretty much for live recording. You just, hold, make sure that you check if you're quantizing or not, and this needs to be blinking, and then you just play and you record your sequence. Now, the other way of recording patterns is going to be grid recording. Now, this is the common step sequencer mode, and the only thing that you just need to do is just press rec. Whenever the rec is steady, it means that you are on grid recording. And right here, you don't even need to do play, but I'm going to do it. So, I can show you. I'm going to select the kick track. So right here, you have 16 steps. The only thing you need to do is just press whenever you want that trigger. So I'm going to be doing a 4 in the floor. If I want to do some snares, I'm going to be doing 5 and then 13, and then we get it. If I want some hats, I'm going to be doing it right here. And there you go. There you have the hats. If you want to remove some of the triggers, and on the Elektron world, we call this triggers. All right, this is a note trick. There is something else called log tricks, but we will talk about that much later. In this case, if I want to remove the steps, I can remove them. So if you think about this, this mode, this grid recording mode, is also the edit mode. If I go to the snares, I can go right here. I'm gonna push and just hold it, and right there at the top, it will give you some information. It will let you know which note you're playing, the velocity, and the length of the step. So if I maybe go to this one and do something like that, and something like that, and something like that, I can go to this trigger, I can just press and hold it. It will show you the information. Right here, you can offset the notes and even offset the velocity and even change the length if I wanted to. And with the other ones as well, I can go right here. It's going to be the default note, but I can do something else. It doesn't matter. And there you go. That's how you can change it. Of course, you can do it from here, but this is just a little bit different. We will talk about this later. And again, if you want to remove whatever it is that we did, I'm going to just tap it and it will just remove it. One thing I didn't show you is that you can, if you do something like that, you can hold multiple triggers. I'm in a funny position, multiple triggers at once, and you can offset them all at the same time. All right. If you don't like the position, and this applies for all the different tracks, what you can do, you can press the track, and I'm gonna maybe do it like that. I'm gonna press the track and move the level data. What this does, it will move the tricks up and down, right? It's backwards or forwards. And this is actually super useful. If I wanted to shift the hi-hats, I can do so. Just, try different combinations. All right. Now I'm gonna go to this track and I'm gonna remove this because it's just very ugly. Now, one tiny trick on grid recording, remember, steady, if we do function and clear, it will clear this track. So if I do something funny right here and I don't like it, instead of just going right here, I can do function on grid recording. This one needs to be on. I can do function clear, and this will clear the track. When it says clear the track, it's clearing this track and the whole thing that is going on right here. That's why it goes off. Like I said before, I can go right here and go back to live recording, right? And make sure that you do quantized or unquantized. So if I do something here, and I want to edit this, the only thing that you need to do is to go back to grid recording, steady. Right, so let me just stop it, make sure that you're in grid recording. Right here, we can go and just edit whatever is that we recorded while, doing live recording. So like I said before, grid recording, it's also the edit mode of the model cycles. Okay, so let me show you a few more things that will help you to create sequences. So what you can do, you can go to funk and you can go to track. And I'm gonna go to the number 6 where we have the chord. I'm gonna do function and I'm gonna do track, and this will take you to a new screen. Now on the screen you have these options. Now you can go through them by using the level data, and if you want to change one of them, you just need to push and then change the value with the same knob. Now in the case of key BT, it's talking about the keyboard, it's talking about these notes. So if I get out grid recording and I just play the keys, we know that we can play them chromatically. But it's gonna start right here. So this is like the octave menu, or maybe on a synthesizer, you can enter right here, and if now I'm playing something and I go down, now it's gonna be lower, or you can go up and it's gonna be, of course, higher. Now when you change this value, it will not change the sequence if you have a sequence going on. And also changing this value does not change the pad. If I go up and play the pad, is going to be exactly the same. So what the pad, how you can change the pad? Well, it's going to be right here at the bottom. It says pad, is it stuck on C5? If you change it to something else, it's going to be, that's something else. Now there's something funny right here. I'm going to go back to C5. If I go to grid recording and I record something with whatever we have right here, I'm going to do whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm going to play it back. It will, of course, do the same thing. If I get out of the keyboard and I offset the keyboard, this will not affect the sequence. But if we go to the other one and change the pad, let me just do it. There we go. I'm going to go to the pad and change it. This will offset whatever is that you have on that pad. Right? So this can be helpful when you are creating a sequence. Now I'm going to go back to C5. Now let me stop it. Then you have the MOUT. This one is the MIDI out. So whenever you use the keys and the pads and everything else, this will send MIDI information out through the outs that you have right here at the back. So when this is enable, what you're doing, you're pretty much enabling sending note, MIDI note information, but it also will send velocity and trigger length. And all of this, again, it's important if you are using an external device to control whatever it is that you do right here. And in my opinion, using this with an external keyboard is a lot more helpful than using the pad or the keys right here at the bottom. All right, so I'm going to be adding a couple of kicks right here so we can hear them among grid recording. And I'm going to go to the snare and just add a snare right here. So what you get is the trick nudge. So first I'm going to stop it. And what you can do, you can hold one trigger or you can hold several at the same time. And what you need to do is just when you hold it, you need to go to, not this one, the swing, and notice it says nudge. So this one, what it will do, it will nudge, and you will see it on the screen. You can nudge the trigger of whatever it is that you're holding. So if now I play it, notice that it's offset it. And you can go, of course, offset it forwards, or you can offset this backwards. And like I said before, you can do several at the same time. Alright, so again, just very useful. If you always want to go back to the beginning, you just need to go, and on the screen, it will let you know, it will say something, maybe you don't see it, it says on grid, and you're back on the grid. Alright, so you have two things called the Retrig setup, and then you have something called Retrig Repeat. It's a little bit confusing because they are similar, but they're not the same. So if I maybe go to this one, which is the hats, I'm going to be pressing and just holding it, but I'm going to hold the retrigger. I'm going to press and hold, and now I'm going to play this. And what it will do, it will just retrigger it. And this is velocity sensitive. So if I do less or more, it will react to this. Alright, so you can record this on maybe on a live recording if you want to. There's recording. I'm gonna hold it, and it's just, you know, going to record it. There's a lot more to this. If you do function and then you do re-trigger, it's going to give you some options. And again, when you're on the screen, you can still, you know, hold it and listen how it sounds. Now the retrigger options will give you the rate. You can change the rate right here. I'm gonna go much faster. You can go much faster, you know, you can go slower. It's gonna be really slow. Now the other thing that you can change, I'm gonna leave it on 16s for now. The other thing that you can change is gonna be the length, and all of this depends on whatever machine, whatever sound that you're using. In the case of this one, which is a hat, well, this is not going to be very helpful, but you know, you can make it really short, or you can make it longer. In this case, I'm just going to make it short, but you know, it doesn't matter because it's a hat. It's super short already. Now, notice that I need to hold the retrig in order to use it. Right here, and I'm going to go outside. Right here, it's A on. This means that you're latching this mode. So whenever you play the pad, it will do the retrigger. Cool. Now, one thing that you need to remember is that each of the tracks, they will remember. Notice that this one is not retriggering and this one is. So this is not global. If I want to go here and I go to funk and retrig to access the menu, this one is going to be, you know, a little bit different than this one. So right here, you can just maybe decide what you want to do. If you want to do a retrigger, I'm going to go super fast. And on this one, it's completely different, right? So notice that the screen is just changing. So yeah, all the tracks are completely independent when it gets to the retrig setup. So okay, I have that kick and the snare. I guess if I go to grid mode, enable the record, you know what? I'm going to be doing just one single snare. So what you need to do, you need to press and hold the trig. And now, by holding the trig, not doing function, you need to go to the retrig. And notice that the screen is a little bit different. If I release this key, it's going to go off. It needs to say trig repeat. And this is a little bit different than the other one. What this will do, this is like the sub steps, let's say. So each time it plays this trigger, is going to play different steps, or it's just going to repeat it and repeat it multiple times. I'm going to go again to the retrig, and notice that you have several options. You know what? I'm going to do it with this hand. You have several options. You have the on. You can turn it on from here. And as it's doing it, every time that it's recognizing this trigger, it's just playing it several times. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go to the retrig. And if I go down, you can decide the rate. Maybe I want it to go faster, yeah, or you can just go slower. Completely up to you. I'm going to go to, I don't know, 112. That's fine. So then you have the length, and the length right here is a little bit more obvious. Right now it's 1/4, but if I go up or maybe go down, it's going to be less repeats or more repeats. If I go up like crazy, like something like that, notice it's super long. And it's almost just lasting the whole 16 steps. If you have 64 steps, it's going to end way before, the whole cycle. But if you have a little bit less, like, I don't know, something that makes sense, like 10, what is it? It's playing 10 steps, pretty much. Now, if you keep holding there and go all the way up, at some point it's going to say inf. And inf means that it will play forever, right? It's just going to retrig forever. If I go back and I'm going to go to something, some option that makes sense for us right now, I'm going to leave it maybe at 12 or 10. I'm going to leave it at 10. Right, so we know that it's going to end up right here. So you have another option that it's called the fade. I'm going to go here and I'm going to say fade. So you can go up and maybe you are going to notice it. Notice it as it is ending the retriggering, it's fading out pretty much. I'm going to go all the way aggressive. So now it's much obvious. All right, I'm going to hold it again. I'm going to go back to the retrig and I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. And of course, 0 is going to be none, but you can do it the other way. If I go all the other way, it's going to be a little bit different. But this is like, starting and then fading again. And almost like it wants to play again. So I'm going to go to the retrigger again, and I'm just giving you different examples. I'm going to make it longer. Notice it's starting again when it reaches almost here. This is almost like another foe, like following a triangle pretty much. It's way too aggressive. Let me go back. There we go. I'm gonna erase it and just add it again. If I play it back, of course it's going to delete the retrigger. Now, one tiny little trick is that if you want to turn it on, you just hold the trig, and when you are on the screen, you just press the retrig, and it's just gonna turn it on and just turn it off. So it's much faster than going through the encoder and just turning it on and off. All right, and when you hold it, if this one is on, it means that the retrigger is on for this step, for this trigger. Alright, so let's talk about quantization. We already know that when you hold the rec and you tap the play, it's going to change between, of course, it's going to live record, but it's going to change between unquantized and quantized. So you have more options right here. If you go to function and hold it, and you go to the punch, and yes, this is a punch, notice it says quantize at the bottom. So if you tap it, it will take you to the quantization screen, and you have 4 options, and you can see at the bottom it says 1 of 4. Now let me just zoom in right here. You have 4 options. I'm going to go to the next one. It's going to be the track, and then it's going to be apply, and then it's going to be live rec. So when we do rec and tap the play, it's pretty much a shortcut of this one, turning on the quantization for live recording or not, right? So this is the option number 4. Now the other ones are a little bit different. If I go to global, this one will do, it will, take the whole pattern and apply and quantize the whole pattern. If the value is 0, it means that you're not doing any quantization. So let's just, pretend that my sequence, it's not quantized and I want to quantize it, the whole sequence. So in this case, you're going to enter to the global by tapping the level data, and you're going to decide the strength of the quantization. If I go all the way up, it's going to be, full strength. It's going to be, the quantization is going to be really hard. But, you can do just a tiny little bit and adjust whatever is not quantized by, small amounts. So whenever you're done, if you want to, let's say, go really aggressive and just quantize everything, you just press enter, and this is going to be your value, but then you need to apply it. Once you apply it, it's just going to ask you, do you want to, quantize all the tracks? Yes, I do. and that's done. Now, another thing that you can do, if of course you don't want to quantize the whole damn thing, let's say that you record some hats, right? And the hats are not quantized, but you want to quantize just the hats. Well, in this case, you need to go to track, and right here, this one matters, just like the global. So if I go to track, notice it says track number 3. If you select a different track, it's going to say track 2, and so on and so on. So in this case, it's the same deal with the global. I'm going to enter to the track 3. I'm going to, decide the strength of the track. Let's say I want to do that. I'm going to confirm, and then I'm going to go to apply, and it's going to ask you apply the quantization to the track or tracks. And I'm going to say yes. When you do this, make sure that global is 0 if you only want to quantize the number 3. Right, so now we need to talk about the pattern scale, is what you have right here, the pages. Right now we are just working with, 16 steps, and that's fine, I have a kick and snare, and notice that the page number 1, it's blinking. This means that you only have 16 steps in this case. So I want to make it longer. So what you need to do, you need to go to function, and then go to the page, and then you tap the page. Right, so when you get this screen, you have a lot of different options. The first one is going to be pattern. You can change the length by pattern or by track. So in this case, I'm going to stay on pattern. We're going to check the tracks in a minute. Now then, if you go down, not this one right here, on the length, this one will decide the length. If you want to have 16 steps, or maybe even, maybe 4 steps, I play it back, it's just going to be playing 4 steps. If you want more, you can go right here and just go all the way up to 64 steps. And notice that the lights go on. Now you have 4 pages, and 4 pages mean 64 steps. Now, tiny little trick, I'm going to go to 16, just go to default. If you want to, when you're on the screen, you can tap the page. Let me just stop it and play it back again. You can tap the page. Whenever you tap the page, it's going to go by 16s. And what it does, if you notice, is going to copy whatever you have on the 16, and it's going to paste it on the next 16s, in this case 32. So you don't need to copy paste the pattern. It's just going to do it for you, right? Up all the way up to 64. Now then, what you will get is the scale length. This one is the resolution. If I go there, this is just 1x, which is by default what we get, but I can go slower, and this affects the resolution. Right? And if you want, you can go faster, and so on and so on and so on, up to 2x. I'm going to leave it on 1x right now. Now, of course, when you create a sequence, you will have 4 pages, 2 pages. It depends on, how many pages you have. So the whole pattern is going to play, and at some point, of course, the cycle of the whole pattern is going to end. Now, if you want to cue in by going to pattern, maybe go to a different pattern, right? So this means that you want to change the pattern. So right here, let me just go out here. I'm gonna go to change. Right here, you get the change. This one will decide how long it's going to wait before you cue in a different pattern. If it's 16, it means that whenever you're playing a sequence, it will wait for 16 steps of that sequence until, a cycle is completed, and then it's going to move on and cue in the next pattern. If you change it to 64, you can do 64 steps if you want to. It means that when you cue in a different pattern, it's going to wait for 64 steps, pretty much. Now, right here, you can go crazy. If I go into negatives, I can even do, 1,000 something. Now, if you go to pattern, which makes sense, right here it says length, it means that it will wait pretty much for, the pattern to be over to go to the next one, pretty much. Now, in my opinion, this depends on your pattern. And this topic, the change length, is a little bit longer, and this guide, it's already way too long. There's a little bit more to this, and on the other devices, the Digitone, the Digitact, is just a little bit more complex too. So I'm not going to expand on the change length, but I'm going to be going to the pattern. Right now, when we extend, we are doing by pattern. Now, if I change it to track, well, first you need to select the track. I'm gonna be right here on the snares, and I'm just gonna be selecting. Gonna play it back. I'm gonna select the track, and I'm gonna go right here at the bottom, and I'm gonna just start offsetting this. I'm gonna do maybe, I made a mistake right there. I'm gonna do like 5 steps so we can really hear that it's offsetting just the snare and not the kick. And if you want to, of course, you can change the scale length. You can maybe play it faster or slower. If I go back to 16, I'm gonna go all the way back to 16. When you get out of the screen, I'm gonna get out right now. Of course, you have the kick that is going to last 64 steps, and then you have the snare that will only last 16 steps. So right here you have that poly rhythm, because you have different resolutions and length for all the different tracks. In this case, we only have kick and snare. Now, when you have a 64 steps sequence, the lights right here will let you know where you are. All right, so let me show you what's the deal with the lights right here and how to navigate the whole damn thing. So when you go to funk, and I'm gonna go to funk and page, I know that the kick is 64 steps, but the snare is just 16 steps. And also the snare is going, on a funky rate. So it's a little bit different. So when I go to the kick and I play it back, I know that the kick is 64 steps. Now the lights will let you know on which page you are standing right now, and then it will let you know by blinking with the blinking light where the sequence is. So on the 3rd page, the last one, and then goes back to the beginning. Now, right now I'm on grid mode. It means that I can edit the different steps. So how can I go to the other one? So you just need to tap the page and it will just position you on the next page. You can stop it if you want to, and you just keep pressing. Let's say I want to add some variations on the page number 3, some other variations on the page number 4. And if I play it back, it goes, of course, to the 1st page, then the 2nd page, and now it's going to be the variations, and then the page 4 and the other variation. Cool. Now, one thing that you need to notice is that when you offset the lengths of the different tracks and even, the resolution, the lights right here are going to be a little bit different. In the case of the snare, notice that we only have one single page, and it also blinks on a different fashion. It's because this one is just faster, right? So again, this is something that you need to remember when you offset the times and the length, just like that. Right, so since now we know how to create a sequence, how to work with the tracks, and how to use some of the functions that we get on this device, it would be nice to maybe use different sounds. So right now I'm going to introduce you to presets and folders. Now what I want to do, I want to go to the kick, and I want to change the kick. So whenever you want to do so, you can of course move the knobs that you have right here and create your own sound, your own preset. We're going to talk about this much later, but you can maybe use an existing preset. Now I'm going to be going right here, and I'm going to be adding a kick. And this is, the dull kick that we get from this machine. So if you want to access to the machine menu or the preset menu, well, you need to go to the preset menu. Hold the function and go to the machines button. When you press it, it's going to take you to this directory. And in this directory, you only have 2 choices if you are starting from the, factory. You have factory, which is the default library, and then you have the locks. We're going to talk about locks in a few minutes. And alright, so what I want to do, I want to navigate the presets. So in this case, I'm going to go to factory, and inside factory, what you will get is different categories. And this is why, again, the way it's arranged by default when you buy this device. So you have bass drums, then you have claps, then you have cymbals, then you have effects. You have different categories. Pretty easy to understand. So in this case, I want to change the bass drum. I'm going to be pushing and entering to the bass drum. And right here, you can have a lot of different sounds. If you want to audition, you just need to press the T, the pad, and you can audition. If you change it, maybe here to anger, you can audition whatever sound, whatever kick. So let's say I want to change it to this one. Once you want to select it, you want to select this preset, you just need to push the level data to confirm. And notice that by factory, you get 80 different bass drums. So I'm going to be selecting that one. And of course, preset will be applied, and now you're using that preset for the kick. I'm going to do the same thing for the snares. I'm going to stand on the snares. I need to use track and go to the snares. I'm going to go here and just do a snare, of course. And now, since I'm standing right here, you need to go back, and then you just need to select maybe clap, or maybe I'm going to go to, snare drums, whatever. If I go here, there's that we get it. That's maybe way too much. Alright, so I like this one. I'm gonna be pressing and confirm, and now that is the one. So to get out, of course, you just, go out, and I'm gonna lower the volume for that one because it's just pretty damn loud. Alright, so that's how you choose different presets for, your different tracks. That's of course one way to do it. There's a lot more to this. What if I, maybe I want to use the sound and then I move the controls right here. Maybe I'm gonna do it live. I'm just gonna adjust the decay, and maybe I'm gonna send more to the reverb or delay. In this case, I'm gonna do a reverb. I'm gonna do a little bit of this. We're gonna talk about this in a minute, and it's just a little bit more crunchiness. It's already super cranked. I'm gonna do less. Doesn't matter. Alright, so let's say that I really like what I did. So changing the preset on your active pattern doesn't mean that you alter the preset in memory. You need to save the preset if you, really want to keep the changes. Or you can just maybe store a new preset. I'm going to do it with a different sound. I'm going to go to the number 3. I'm going to go to function. So, we can practice this function. I'm going to go to the machines. I'm going to go to factory, and I'm going to be going to the TO. Well, actually, this one is Tom's. I'm going to go to synth, and I'm going to go here, and that's just going to be trying to find some nice bass sound. Alright, so I'm gonna like that one. I'm gonna be just adding some notes, and I'm gonna be applying the sound, and I'm gonna be going all the way up, all the way down, and just going down in volume. Again, I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna change the preset, just make it fit a little bit better. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to change this. I want to save this as my own preset. Go to function again, and I'm going to go to the machines. And now what you can do, you have different options. You can go inside factory and save the presets inside the factory presets, or you can even create a new directory right here. And notice right there, it says function FN and then menu. Now in this case, so I can give you that example, I'm going to be going to function, and right here, it will ask you save preset, save kit, or create folder. I'm going to create a folder so I can show you how you can do it. I'm going to create a folder by going to function, and it will give you different options. Now this screen is going to be the naming or renaming screen. By doing function and then back, you can delete characters. And by, again, holding function, it's going to give you the ability to select a letter, a character. Now, I'm going to be going to X, and whenever you are there, you just need to release the function, and it will do it for you. And then I'm going to do XN. This is going to be my directory, XN. And then I'm going to be doing B, but I don't want to use uppercase. You need to tap the level data, and it will swap or just toggle between upper and lowercase. So, I'm going to go to X, and if you are wondering, where are the numbers? Oh, made a mistake. I'm going to go back. It needs to be B. I don't know the name of my own channel. I'm going to go to B, and if you're wondering where are the numbers, well, if you keep scrolling and scrolling, at some point, you're going to find the numbers, right? Notice that you see the lowercase, and right here, you get the numbers. So yeah, there's a lot of scrolling right here. In this case, I'm going to be doing, 1. Now, once you're done and you want to create your new folder, you push to confirm, and it will ask you, yes, abort, and then edit. I'm going to say yes. And now, on the main root directory, you have your factory presets, you have your logs, we're going to talk about that later, and then you have your X and B folder. So, if you want to store the presets inside that folder and not the factory, you can. When I go here, of course, it's going to say empty folder. So once inside directory, I can create func, or just press func, and it will ask you, what do you want to do? You want to save the presets, you want to save the kit, or create a new folder. In this case, I want to save the presets and make sure that, this one is selected. In this case, it was the bass. I'm going to save it right here. I'm going to save preset, and it will ask you, again, I'm going to change the name to something else. Okay, so that's my name, Beef, because I'm watching The Bear right now, and it's a good series that you should watch. I'm gonna press yes, and it's gonna be yes, and there you go. That's your Beef. So now you can use this preset on other patterns. What if I want to delete the preset? By going to function, it will not give you that option. It will give you save preset, then save kit. I'm going to show you what's a kit in a second, and that's it, right? So what's going on? I want to delete the preset. So what you need to do to get the extra functions is hold the function, but now you need to push and hold this. And notice that it's going to give you more options. So now you can rename the preset, delete the preset. You can send sys6 or sys6, whatever you want to call it. Depends on the country. Or you can copy to lux. Of course, we're going to talk about lux in a few minutes. But, you have more options right here. And to get out of this, of course, you need to do back. All right, so let me show you how the kits work. I'm working with a default pattern. What I want to do, I want to, maybe select different presets, just like we did before, function, and then go to machines. Then we can go to factory, load whatever kick. Then I'm going to go to track. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to, I don't know, claps or whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to be selecting maybe a different clap. We have different sounds. If you wish, maybe you can start off with your default pattern, start changing things, and just, make it different. Same thing with this one. I'm going to be changing some of the things that we have right here, and maybe same thing right here. And same thing right here. So now let's just pretend that whatever it is that we are doing right here, this, kit, all the tracks are just awesome, and I want to save them. All right, so we need to go to the preset menu, function, and then preset menu. And when you're standing on the root, again, go to function, and if you choose to save the preset, save the kit, anything that you do right here is going to do it on whenever you're standing. If you're on root, it's going to do it on root. It makes sense that maybe if you're storing kits, you put them inside the kits directory. This is just my recommendation, and I'm going to do just that. I'm going to do function. I'm going to create a new directory, and I'm going to call this one kits. All right, so now we have the kits directory. I'm going to go in, and now we are not inside root. We are inside kits. So what I need to do, I need to go to function, and right here is going to say save kit. So when I save it, it will ask you the name of the kit, and it's because it will create a new directory for you. So you don't need to, create a new directory manually. And I'm going to, name it, I don't know, whatever, just to save time. I'm going to name it nothing, or maybe something dumb like WY. I'm going to press yes, and I'm going to save the kit. And inside kits, now we have a WY. And if I go there, that's what we get. We get sound 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. Now, how this works is that when you load a new kit on a empty pattern, the model cycles is going to say, okay, what's the number? Sound 1. Okay, so I'm going to assume that this is the track number 1, and it will assign that preset to the number 1. Same with the 2, same with the 3, the 4, and the 5. So you can save a sound, name it whatever you want, right? Preset, name it whatever you want, as long as you respect the number at the end. So if you don't name it correctly, it will not use it when you want to load the kit. So we have this nice tiny little kit. What if I go to maybe a new location, a new preset, or maybe pattern? I'm going to go here. So now on a new pattern, we have the dull, different sounds. I can go to function. Oh, made a mistake. I'm going to go to function and then machines. I'm going to navigate to the kits. I'm going to go to the kit that I want. And right here, you don't need to do function. I made a mistake before. You can just push and hold the level data without holding function. And, on this device, most of the actions are holding function. So got a little bit confused. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to press and hold. And it says load folder, rename folder, same as before. I'm going to be loading the folder. I'm going to press enter and then say yes. And this will load the 6 presets. And now if I go here, we have the kit, right? The WY kit. All right, so that's how you save the different kits. Pretty simple. And that's actually pretty useful, because if there's a kit that you use the whole time, you just load that one, and you don't need to import the presets one by one. So it's super useful. Now, I cannot say that navigating the whole damn thing right here, all the different directories, it's super simple, especially when you need to func and rename the directories. It's not that fun. So if you connect a cable, if you go through USB, you can use the Elektron transfer, and it's just much easier to do it from there. Okay, so let's talk about copy, pasting, and clearing tracks and patterns. And I'm gonna start with the tracks. So I'm gonna be going maybe I'm gonna use this one. So let's say that I want to maybe go to this track and I want to copy this one and paste it right here. Now, once you have that selected, I'm gonna hold the track and I'm gonna go to copy, right? And I'm gonna just tap it and it says copy track 6 and then sound. So this is copying the sound of the track, not copying the sequence. So now let's say I'm gonna be going maybe to this one and I'm gonna go track, and then I'm gonna go to paste. And right there, we have the same sound on both different tracks. Now you can even do this on a different pattern. If I go to patterns and I'm gonna go, to the pattern number 3, I'm gonna be selecting this one and I'm gonna do track and I'm gonna be pasting this, and notice that we have the same track sound. But this doesn't, again, remember the sequence information. That's a different thing. Now if I make some changes, I'm gonna go here and just, change the pitch, change the decay, whatever, it doesn't matter, and I play it, we can hear that now it's different. So what I can do, I can go to track and do clear. And if I tap it, it says clear track 5 and then sounds. And if I play it, it's back to defaults. Now, if I don't change anything, what I can do the same thing and it says undo, clear, undo. And this takes you back to, whatever you try to clear it. Now, if you clear and you start changing the patch or changing the values, you cannot really undo it. When we do track and we copy, remember it says sound, it's copying the track, the sound. What if we want to copy the sequence data as well? For this, you will need to enter into grid recording. And you know what? I'm going to go to the kicks. I'm going to maybe enter here. I'm going to record something. It doesn't matter. I'm going to play it. And we have the kick. So I want to copy. Now the track is not going to work here because the track's for the tracks. I need to go to function. And right now the grid recording is on. This is important. If I do function and I go to copy, it says copy track. So now I'm going to be going to the track number 2, to this one. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to hold the function and I'm going to do paste. And there's that we are pasting, but we are pasting the sequence. The snare, this is still a snare. It's not changing, the kick. It's not changing it to a kick. So yeah, it's a little bit weird. I won't say complex, but you need to remember what you want to do in terms of copy, where you are. If you want to track, hold track. If you want the sequence, hold the function, and so on and so on and so on. If you want to clear the sequence right here, it's the same idea. I'm standing on the number 2. And I'm going to do function and I'm going to do clear. And this is going to clear the track. If I play it, it's gone. Still, this is snare, but it's going to clear all the different steps or different tricks. Right, so what about patterns? I'm going to stay on the number 3. We have a kick. I guess I'm going to be adding a snare just to have something, let's say. And I want to copy this. Maybe I'm going to do something like that. And I want to copy the pattern and just maybe paste it on a different way, on a different place. So you need to get out of the grid recording. So I'm going to turn off the grid recording. So now the function and the copy is not for the sequence, it's going to be for the pattern. So I'm going to do function, I'm going to do copy, and it says copy pattern. So now I could go maybe to the pattern number 4, and I can do the same thing, function, and I'm going to be pasting. And if I play it back, we have the same pattern, of course, on a different location. If I want to clear all of this by doing function and clear, will clear the sequence, right? If I play it, we have nothing, but this is clearing the sequence. It's not taking the pattern into an initial state. So to do this, you have a couple of options. You need to go to pattern, and this is going to be a little bit weird. You need to hold the pattern. You need to go to the bank right here, stand in the bank. We want to go to the number 4. I want to press and hold that pattern, and then and only then I'm going to be doing clear, and it says clear pattern, and it's going to clear the pattern. Now you can clear a lot of different patterns at the same time. The other way of doing this, we know this, we can go to settings, and when we go to settings, we go to pattern, we enter there, and then inside we can clear the sound independently. We can clear the sequence, or we can clear all the data, and this is equal to clear all the data. You can do yes, and it's going to just take you back to an initial patch. Now it's time to talk about the machines. When you start with the default pattern, I'm working with the default pattern right now. All the tracks, they have the default sounds that you get with the default pattern. Now each of the tracks, it's using a machine. In the Elektron world, a machine is an engine that generates a sound. On the model cycles, you have 6 different types of machine, the kick, the snare, blah, 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 and so on. So the thing is that, we want to know or we want to change those sounds. And you can do so. You just need to go to the machines right here. Now, I'm going to stand on the kick. And when you press that one, it's going to take you to the machines menu. So if I keep playing, of course, we can hear that this is a kick, but I can change it to something else. It's going to use the snare machine, or it can use the metal machine, then percussion, of course. It makes sense. It's percussion. Then we have a tone, and then we have a chord machine. And that's pretty much it. You have 6 different machines. And okay, so when you select the machine, it means that maybe you want to change the params to create a different sound. If not, you're going to be using the default sound. All the knobs right here, they will do something very specific. Most of the knobs work exactly the same way for all the different machines. But there's a catch. The color, the shape, the sweep, and the contour, they perform different tasks when you're standing on a machine. For example, for a kick, this one will change some aspect that makes sense for a kick. But when you go to a chord, well, they do something different. For example, it's going to change the chord or handle the unison. You don't have a chord and unison in a kick. So in this section, I'm going to be showing you all the different things that you can do with these knobs without showing you the color, shape, sweep, and contour. And once we are done with all of this, and we know how it works, I'm going to be going machine by machine, showing you, each of the params. Okay, so for now, I'm going to, stay on the kick. So when you go to the kick, by changing the pitch, is going to, of course, as you could assume, is going to change the pitch. Now, let's say that you change it to 16 semitones, right? And I'm going to get out. If you want to change the pitch and you change it again, and I'm going to go back to 0 or something like that, notice at the bottom, maybe you don't see it because of the camera, is going to say back. Maybe it went away. Yeah, it went away. I'm going to change it. And the previous value was 0. So if you don't want to change it to 18 semitones and you made a mistake, by pressing back, it's going to take you back to the previous value. So yeah, man, it's kind of useful because sometimes you want to change it, and if you change it, and this is for all the different params. When you change it, maybe you're not sure, you can always go back by going back. And it's just pretty useful. Now, one more thing with the pitch. When you move the pitch, it's going to go in the cents, as you can see, tiny little values. What you can do, if you go to 0, by holding the function, you can go in semitones, right? Just, whole values. All right, so that's the pitch. And I guess this is pretty obvious. Let's go to the decay. And as you could assume, the decay is going to be the decay. Now, on this device, the model cycles, it works with an AD type of envelope. You don't have an ADSR. So when you play something, the decay can be really short and plucky. And maybe I'm going to go to the snares. It's going to be a little bit more, obvious, very short. Or I can go all the way up on the decay, and it changes the amp decay. Now, you don't have a release. You really don't have a sustain, which is going to be this mode. I'm going to show you in a minute. And you don't have an attack. So you can only change the decay. I'm going to stay on the 50s. I'm going to skip the color, shape, and sweep and contour. We're going to talk about this in a minute. And I'm going to go to the delay sent and the reverb sent. On this device, just like, the other ones, the digitone, digitact, and so on, you only have one single reverb and one single delay. So what you do, it's the master reverb and a master delay. What you do on each track, you can send a sound or send a signal to those effects. But you don't have individual delays and reverbs for each of the tracks. This is something very important. So whenever you're playing something, and I'm going to be going to grid recording, and I'm going to be doing something like that, so we can get something. What I want to do, I want to send to the delay. So you go here, and you just send to the delay. Going to go up in volume. And this is going to, of course, send to the delay. If you want to change the delay time, well, the knob is going to be the delay time. You just change it with the knob. And if you want to change change the feedback, you need to hold the function, and the secondary function for the delay is going to be how much feedback you want. Can go really aggressive. I'm going to go maybe to a short feedback. The other thing, it's going to be, of course, the reverb. If I'm sending to a reverb, you just go up and you get the reverb. For the reverb options, you have the size of the reverb, which is going to be, pretty wild. If you go to inf, it's going to be like a type of, I won't say shimmer, it's just going to sustain right there at the top. And the secondary function is going to be the tone. This means that it's going to dampen the reverb. If I go to positive values, it means that you have less low frequencies on the reverb. If I go to negative values, it means that you have less higher frequencies and you have more of lows. Again, all of this is just completely up to you and what you want to do. But yeah, that's the only thing you can do. Again, you have one single reverb, one single delay, and you right here decide how much you want to send. That's all. Now for now, I'm gonna remove the send because I want to show you the other controls. Going all the way down, you're gonna be going to off. The next options are gonna be LFO speed, but this belongs to the LFO section. I'm gonna show you in a few minutes. And the next is gonna be the volume, the swing, and the chance. Now the volume distortion, it's pretty simple. It's just volume and distortion. So by default, it's gonna be at 60. If you go down, it's gonna go down in volume. But as you crank it up, notice that right here you have the sine wave. It's going to start crashing it and you get distortion. So you can really just, smash it. Now I'm going to go back, and when you're standing on that snare, I can lower the volume because this is going to go really loud. So it's a good idea if you want to crush it and then go down in volume. Makes sense? All right, so what's next? Well, it's going to be the swing. And for this one, I'm going to go to the snares. And I'm going to be adding maybe the hats. I'm going to be adding hats. And this is pretty obvious. It's the swing. Nothing, if you go all the way down, is no swing. As you go up on the swing, you get the swing. All right. And that's pretty much it about the swing. It's, pretty simple. Now, the other thing that you get is going to be the chance. And for this one, I'm going to go here. I'm going to maybe play something. I'm going to play it on each beat, so it's a little bit more obvious. On each beat, we are just playing the note. Now, then you have the chance. And the chance, it means that if you're on 100%, every time that it finds a trick is going to play. But if I go down and say that each trick has a 50% chance of playing or not, it means that when it detects the trick, it's going to do the math and has 50% chance of playing or not. So if you think about this, this is like a randomization of the playback of the tricks, right? And, it's cool. Now, one thing that you need to know is that right here it says cond. So this means conditional. I'm going to turn it off. So it means conditionals. Now, this is a very long topic. I'm going to be recording a different video explaining all the different conditionals that you get. I already did it for other Elektron devices. I did it for the Syntakt, and I guess I didn't do it for the Digidoned, but they are all the same. They all the Elektron devices work the same in terms of the conditionals. So if you want to know it right now, you can go to my channel, find that video talking about conditionals, and I show you all the things that you can do with the conditionals. If not, in a couple of days, I'm going to be uploading a new video showing everything that you can do. Okay, so I'm going to be playing back. We just have a snare, and I guess that's fine. I'm going to add a kick. If I'm getting a kick, it's of course super short. There we go. And all right, so I'm going to go to the chance, and I'm going to go maybe up, and I'm going to go down in the volume. Cool, so now then you have all the options. You have the punch, and then you have the gate. First, I'm going to go to the punch, and I'm going to maybe go to the snare. If I do punch, what this do, and it's just a little bit louder and punchier, and it's because it will add, compression and a little bit of distortion, but it's mostly compression. That's why it's really punchy. If I do it in this one, that is a super punchy. So that's compression. Now you can do it for all if you want to, but there's a tiny little trick. I'm going to turn it off. There's a tiny little trick. if you want to enable or just, move all the different controls for all the different tracks, what you can actually do it. You need to hold track, just hold it, and I'm going to be enabling punch for all the tracks. So if I go to kick, we have the punch on, and so on and so on and so on. So it's turning the punch on for all of them. And you can also do it for the options. So for the params, if I want to offset the pitch, it's going to offset the pitch for all the different machines and the different tracks. Just again, a cool tiny little feature. All right, so what else? Let me stop it for now. And I guess the last thing is going to be the gate. I'm going to go to that one. I'm going to remove the punch for now, and I'm going to remove the notes. So if I play this, it's going to play, and at some point it's going to die, but I'm still holding this. So the gate, what it does, this one, it will add a hold stage. It's like a sustain right to the envelope. So now if I play and hold, that is holding the note. This is something that you cannot do if the gate is off. It's just going to play and die. But if you hold the gate, it's going to, keep it on. On all the other sounds, well, it will sound a little bit different because you're adding like a hold stage. It's a little bit longer. So notice that it's much longer. And all of this depends on the sound that you're using, on what you want to use. So if I do gate, and this depends on, the duration or the length of the note. If I'm holding, well, it's going to be super long, but maybe if the duration of the note is that, well, that is what you're going to get. Same with the other one. If I do something like this or hold it, it's going to respect the duration of the note. Just like sustain. That's all. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Now we need to talk about the sweep, contour, color, and then the shape. Okay, so if I go to a kick, I'm going to go to grid recording and add a couple of kicks. And I'm going to be playing this, and we can, handle the controls. I'm going to be adding a little bit more decay. Now, in the case of the kick machine, all these different options are going to be doing something else. Now I'm going to go to color. So color is going to be a soft square modulation. If I go up, that is changing the tone. As I go more, of course, it's going to be a lot more aggressive. So yeah, soft square modulation, which again, it makes sense. If I go all the way down, it's just going to be, a lot less aggressive, but that's fine. Now the triangle is a bit more aggressive than this one, and the shape, this is a triangle modulation instead of a soft square. The shape, it gives you that triangle modulation is going to be a little bit more aggressive than this one, but it also adds feedback. So it means that it will give you noise. As soon as you keep going up, that's fine, but as you cross the line, you will start getting a noisy type of sound. Right? And all of this, again, depends on what you want to do. Maybe the decay is too long. If I want a noisy, punchy kick, well, you go up on the shape and you will get it. What else? You have the sweep. For now, I'm going to go down to this one, do something a little bit more normal, a little bit more decay, and no color. I'm going to do a little bit of color. So then you have the sweep, and as you could guess, this is going to be the sweep. If I go up, we can actually see on the spectrum, I'm showing you the spectrum right now, we can see that sweep, that pitch sweep. As I go up, it's going to be a little bit more obvious, and the travel, of course, is just longer. Now, if I go down, the travel is going to be less. Going down on this is going to make the kick really, I wouldn't say lifeless, but notice that there's no motion, there's no pitch motion, because we are doing nothing. As I go up, we can see that pitch motion, which is, very important for a kick. Now, I'm going to go maybe down. We are doing a little bit of everything. Just a little bit of everything. This one, it's going to be a little bit different than the other one. Let me stop it for now. The contour is going to be the modulation envelope depth. So it will affect the other controls. If I play it and go all the way down, it's like, I wouldn't say softer, it's less loose. And I'm going to go up in volume so you can hear it. And I want you to pay attention. All the way to the 0 is, a little bit slower. It's loose. If I go up, notice it's more punchy and steady. There we go. And at some point, of course, it's going to be like, super, punchy and steady. Again, down, loose, tight. And again, all this option really affects all the other controls. If I go on this one really aggressively, something like that, and I go down, it's going to be really loose. If I go up, it's much tighter. All right. Okay, so back to the default sound. I'm going to add a couple of snares and just play it. And I'm going to go to the snare. Now, the shape, it's like the on the kick, is the modulation amount and feedback. So it works pretty much the same. I'm going to do a little bit of decay, and I go up, and you will get that noisy type of sound. If I go more decay, we can hear that noise, which is very important for a snare. If I go down, we hear the tone and a lot less than noise. And we can see on the spectrum the tone. We can see it right there. If I go up, we get more noise, and it sounds more like a snare, let's say. Now, the other ones, the color is going to be the inharmonicity. It changes the tone. If I go all the way down, since we can hear the tone, I'm going to move this one, and notice that the tone changes. And yeah, this is how you fine-tune the kind of the fundamentals, the tone of the snare. It's completely up to you, and then you just blend a little bit of your shape, and you have a different snare with a different tone. Great. Now then, the same, just like the kick, you have the pitch, and it's pretty much the same idea. If you go all the way down, it's just very static. If I go up, we can hear the pitch sweep. If I keep going up, we can hear the pitch sweeping super fast. And just like before, this works the same as the kick. The contour is going to decide how loose or how tight it is. All the way down to 0, it's just loose. All the way up, it's just tight. All right, here again, I'm showing you the controls, but you really need to do some experimentation and fine-tune your snare. In this case, you really need to dig in and experiment more. I'm gonna make it less obvious, and I'm gonna be doing less modulation, so it's loose now. All right. Okay, so now we need to talk about this one, which is the metal, and then the perc. So if I go to the metal, this one is pretty simple. I'm going to be even holding it like this so we can see it. It's going to be a little bit annoying. Now, the color, this one, and the sweep are really related. So behind the scenes, what you get, it's two tone generators. So color adjusts the offset, the tune offset of the A, and the sweep adjusts the tune offset of the B. I'm going to be putting both on 0, just both on 0. And you're going to notice that it sounds pretty dull. Even now, if I go all the way down in shape and all the way down in middle on the contour, notice that it sounds like a 2 tone generators. So modulating or changing this one is going to offset the tones, the pitch, and of course you will be getting different sounds. Same thing for the other one. If I go, it's going to adjust the tone. So I could keep this one right there and this one higher. Now then you're missing the modulation stage. Right now they're very static. So then the shape is going to be just like the kick and snare. Is the modulation amount and feedback. Lower values is more static. Going up is going to give you more modulation, but also it's going to give you more noise, just like the kick and the snare. And same as the kick and the snare, the contour is usually the modulation depth. If it's all the way to nothing, and I'm going to remove the gate, what is it right now? It sounds more like I'm going to go up on the decay. It sounds a little bit better. I'm going to go up on the contour. If I go all the way down, it's just loose. And if I go all the way up, it's just a bit more tight. It sounds different. Different tone, loose, tight. Then you have the percussions, and the percussions are very similar to the hats, and they are just more suited for the percussive type of sounds. Now the color is going to be the inharmonicity is going to change the tone. You can actually see it, and you know what? I'm gonna hold it so we can sustain it, and if I move the color, you can see the different tones change it. You have your fundamental right here, right there. You can see it at the bottom, and everything the color is gonna just move everything else. Alright, so this really changes the tone. Now the shape is same as before, it's gonna be the modulation amount. If I do nothing, we just get two different tones. If I go up, of course we're gonna get more, and at some point, what do we get? We get feedback. Alright, this is an FM type of engine, as you could guess. Then we have the sweep, and the sweep is gonna be the pitch sweep, just like before. And for this one, I'm gonna be removing the gate, and I'm gonna go maybe all the way down, and I'm gonna play it. And if I go up, we're gonna start, hearing that sweep. There we go. Now, if I go down on the contours, you could guess is the depth. There we go. Now, this one again, just like before, it works just like the other ones. All the way down is loose. All the way up, the modulation depth is, notice that it's just a lot more tight. Loose and tight. Great. So if you think about this, the kick, the snare, the metal, and the percs are just pretty similar. The only difference is that they use a different engine, and of course they generate a different sound. But you can really relate them because the controls are just pretty much the same. Okay, so back to a default preset, and now we need to take a look at the tone machine and then the chord machine. Now, the tone machine is just, pretty simple. It's a 2-operator machine. I'm gonna enable the gate so we can play something and sustain it. So color is going to be the ratio, and shape is going to be how much the operator modulates the carrier. So if I move the ratio to lower values, notice that the modulation gets lower. And if we go less than 1, we can get really cool, bassy sounds as you go up in pitch or ratio in this case. Of course, you're gonna go up in pitch. Now, still remember that when I'm gonna maybe go to 1. Just stay on 1. This one is going to be how much the modulator modulates the carrier. So if I go all the way down, notice that we get a single tone because it's just a sine wave. This is how FM works. Now behind the scenes, there is another operator, another kind of a oscillator modulating the default one, which is the sine wave. As we go up on this one, it's going to get more modulation. It's going to modulate more and more and more. And as you keep going up, of course, you're going to get more tasty, more harmonics, and that's how it works, right? So if you want a more narrowly sine, I can go to 500, and I can get, if I get out of the gate mode, some cool bass sounds, right? Even go down, and just by going up, you get a more type of bell type of sound. So again, you can generate a lot of different sounds with this because it's FM. I'm gonna go back to a ratio of 1, and remember, going down, less harmonics, going up, more harmonics. Now, on an FM type of modulation, on the type of synthesis, you also get feedback. So in this case, it's going to be the sweep. On the other machines, the sweep is very important for percussive type of sounds, but right here, the sweep is just, the feedback. And as I go up, notice that we get that noisy type of sound. All right. So what else? The last is the contour. And this one is the one that kind of remains the same for all the different machines, is the envelope depth. Now, as I play it and I go down, notice it gets a little bit loose. And as I go up, it's going to be more tight. Remember that at the end of the day, this one is modulating, the main oscillator. So if I, go up on this one and go down, it's going to be more loose. And go up, more tight. And all of this, of course, depends on what you want to do. Now, the next one is going to be the chord. Now, this one is pretty special, and it's completely different from the other ones. What this does is a 4-voice engine. It can do a chord or can play unison. So it will be the 4 voices stacked on top of each other, and you can do unison, and you can even spread or do a unison detune. So the shape, if I'm going to go to gate, so I can just hold the chord. The shape is going to, he's going to tell you right there. It's going to tell you which chords you can do, and you have a lot of different chords, and it's even giving you the representation of the keyboards, of the keys on a keyboard. You have a lot of chords. If I keep going down and down and down, at some point it's going to be unison, and you have a unison of 2, you have a unison of 3, and a unison of 4. Now, since you can do unison, I'm going to stay on 4. The other control, the color, is going to be the oscillator balance. In case of unison, it's going to be the unison spread. And we can hear it. If I go down, it's just, there's no spread. It's pretty much, nothing. So I'm going to go up, maybe I'm going to leave it on 0. Now, what happens if I go to the other ones? I'm going to stay maybe here. So this, of course, plays a chord. This color now, instead of handling the detune of the oscillators, is going to be the oscillator balance. So it's a variation of the chords. As I keep going, right here is root. Notice it says root there. If I keep going up, it's gonna just keep changing the position of the notes, and it's the same chord, the same notes, but it's just a different variation, an inversion as well. So yeah, keep going up, and you have a lot of different variations. Of course, as you go up, it's more obvious. But yeah, you have a lot of different variations right here, a lot of different options. And that's pretty much it. Now, I'm gonna go to, just to show you the next controls, I'm gonna go to unison of 2, and I'm gonna go to nothing. I'm gonna go up in volume. I want you to take a look at the oscilloscope. I'm gonna just boost the oscilloscope right now. So what this does, the sweep, is gonna give you a wavetable. So if I go all the way down, notice it's just a wave. It's just a sine wave. It's just a default tone, just a sine wave. But since this is a wavetable, you just can search the wavetable and get different waveforms. So you're gonna get more harmonics as you keep going up, more harmonics, and at some point you're just gonna get different shapes. There you go. Then as I'm on 38, we can go all the way to 127, and it goes, through the most common shapes. Right there we have saw, and if you keep going up, we have a type of triangle. And if you keep going up, we're gonna get a square at some point. But yeah, it's not that you just can get, you get a sine wave. You get a lot of different waveforms right here. And alright, so we're gonna go all the way down, maybe there. And the envelope, the contour, is just like before. I'm gonna turn off the gate, and if I go down, it's gonna be a little bit loose. Maybe I'm gonna do more. I'm gonna go to a chord, and I'm gonna be doing some inversion. I'm gonna go all the way down to the chord on the contour, and if I go up, notice it's just more tight, loose, tight. Alright, so I guess you get the point that the contour does that, but just wanted to make sure. Alright, so that's pretty much all the different machines that you get. Now, of course, it doesn't seem like a lot, but changing the values and all the other options that we are just not touching, we are just touching this 4 options, you can create a lot of different sounds. Now we need to talk about locks. This is something most Elektron devices can do. It is a way of motion sequence, let's say, but it's at the same time, it's just a little bit different. Now you can lock params, which are these ones. You can lock presets, you can lock machines, and you can lock it with conditionals. Okay, so I'm starting with the default presets, and we of course get the default sounds. I'm going to go right here to the number 6. I'm going to go to grid recording, right? And I'm going to be adding a few notes right here. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm just, adding something. Now, the whole point of locking is that you can hold a trig and change it, but just for this trig. That's, the whole point. And when you're standing on grid recording, when grid recording is on, I'm going to be going to the number 1. I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to be moving some of the params. So maybe this one is going to be a different pitch, and we can already hear is a different pitch. I'm going to be going here and just, change the pitch to something else, and here, and again, maybe go up in pitch. It doesn't matter what. I'm just, giving you an example. So this is locking, and notice that when you have locks, the steps that have locks, they blink a little bit differently than the other ones. Now right here, you can lock the pitch, but you can do a lot more. You can do whatever you want. I'm gonna go right here, and this one is gonna be more decay. And I'm gonna go crazy so you can really hear it. And this one as well. I'm gonna go more decay. On this one, I'm gonna be, changing the color and the shape and the notes and the sweep. And this one, I'm gonna be, again, doing the same, more decay, shape. I can now go up on the reverb. And you can create really interesting sounds, because every time that it goes to a trigger that has a lock, the preset or whatever it is that you're doing on this machine changes completely and then goes back on the next trigger. That's, the whole point of locking. And you can even do punch on some of the triggers and gate on some other ones, or do punch and gate at the same time. And you will, start getting different beautiful textures. That's, again, the whole point. Right. Now, what if you want to remove the locks? Well, one way of doing so, I'm going to show you a different way in a minute, but if you want to remove it, just remove the triggers, and that's it. It's gone. I'm going to remove everything. I want to show you something else. I'm going to be going to the first one, right? So just to the first one. I'm going to be playing that one. So let's say that this one is going to be playing, and then at some point is going to play again when the cycle goes back. So what we can do, we can add locks to places where we are not playing a note. And that is called a lock, not a note trig lock. In this case, if we add a lock, like, this one is a note trig and a lock. But let's say that right here, I want to add a lock that it's not with a note. So you need to go to function, just hold it, and I'm going to go to the trig and just tap it. And notice that it's not playing a note, but it's also blinking. And all this means that, of course, you have a lock there. So I could go right here and just do the opposite. I can go down on the decay and go down on the chord. Or maybe I'm going to keep the decay, but I'm going to go down on the sweep. And this is not playing a note, but when it goes to this step, it changes the params. And that's the whole point of, doing a lock, that it's not a note. I'm going to add a lock right there. And I'm going to do, delay, send, and reverb, send, whatever. There you go. So that's the other way of doing it. You can add note trigs and locks, or you just can add a lock and have a lot of fun. I'm going to remove everything, just like this. If I add a lock, let's say there, if I play it back, you can really hear that it's just not playing a note. If I want to remove this one, I can just tap it again, but that becomes, a note trig. If I just tap it again, it goes away. But you can add a lock like this and just function again and tap it again, and it will just remove it. Now, what happens if you have a lock and you want to delete the lock? It's okay. I'm going to be adding a couple of things right here. I'm going to change this, and this. I'm going to add the here. I'm just randomly doing this because this, guide is already way too long. All right. So if you play it, it's going to sound crazy. When you are grid recording, if you press and hold this one, the lights are going to go on, even if I do a punch or gate here. Right? And if I release it, it's going to go away. So whenever you press, you know what is being locked to that trigger. That's the whole point. So what you can do, while you're holding, you just can tap it and just remove the ones that are buttons. Now, what if you want to remove these ones? Well, these ones are just a little bit different. You need to hold the trig just like this. You need to move the param. When you see the screen, press play, and it's gonna clear the lock. And right here on the screen, it says clear lock. I'm gonna move it to play, and it's gonna clear the lock, and it's gonna go all the way back to the beginning. And this is a way of deleting, different or independent locks. It's a little bit, you just need to go one by one, just kind of do it. And I'm gonna do it so I can show you that all of this works. All of this works, and I'm not lying. I'm gonna go over there. We have no lock there. I'm gonna hold it, move it, go like that, change it, and there we go. It's back to the default, to the default sequence. One thing I didn't show you is that when you, of course, hold it, you can lock all of this, but you can also lock the, the tune. I'm gonna play it. You can also lock this, which is gonna be, the pitch. You can also lock the velocity, and you can also lock the length. So if you have some hi-hats, for example, and you want to add some hi-hats, and you want to edit the velocity, well, maybe on this one's the velocity, I'm gonna go up. Maybe on this one, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there and just go down in velocity. And just like this, you just can create different velocities for your hats. Right, so I guess, you get the whole point of doing all of this. I'm gonna go back to the pattern, and I'm gonna clear all data so we can start with a clear sequence. And if we play it back, we have nothing. So can we add param locks while we are live recording? Yes, of course we can. I'm gonna be adding some notes right here, and I'm gonna play it back. We get this nonsense. I'm gonna do some live recording. We are live recording. And I'm just gonna start moving things, and it's just gonna record the lock. Cool, right? Really cool. And this is one of the most special, and to kill the sound, just double tap the stop. This is one of the coolest features that the Elektron devices have. This, the way of creating motion sequence and just, do param locking. It's really, really creative. Now, can we do machines? Yeah, we can. I'm gonna go to grid recording. I'm gonna delete all of this because we just don't need it. And if we play it back, I have absolutely nothing. So what I want to do the same thing, but with a machine. So I'm gonna add a step right there, there, and there. It doesn't matter. Now we need to be on grid recording. I'm gonna enter to the machine screen first. I'm gonna hold it. Right there is gonna show me which machine. On this one we have chord. Well, I'm gonna change it to a kick. I'm gonna hold on this one. It's a chord. I'm gonna change it to, I don't know, a tone. On this one, I'm gonna make it a snare. On this one, I'm gonna do it whatever, a perc. And on this one, I'm gonna go back to chord. I'm gonna leave it chord. If I play it back, we get it. Super awesome. All right. So this is one way of locking. We can lock params, some of the values that we get with level data, and we can lock the machines. You have a way of locking presets, but it's just a little bit different. But now that you understand how to lock the params and the machines and everything else, understanding how to lock presets is going to be much easier. Okay, since now we know the basics of locking, this one is going to be really simple to understand. If you don't know what locking is, watch the previous section. So what we can do, we can hold a trick on maybe grid recording and say this one is going to play the preset number 2, this one is going to play the 74, this one is going to play the 5, and so on and so on and so on. That's the whole point of preset locking. Now, of course, we are changing presets on the go, and we are changing it really fast. So how the device does this is by storing the presets on the RAM. So you need to manually let the device know, dude, you need to remember all of these presets because I'm going to be locking them. If you don't tell the device that it needs to store the presets on the RAM, which is the temporal memory, well, you're not going to be able to do the preset locking. Now, if I go to function and hold it and then go to the machines, we go into the preset menu. Now, if you remember, we have something that says locks. So this is the locks folder. And this is where you store the presets in memory, the ones that you're going to lock. Now, inside of a pattern, we have 64 slots. So we can hold up to 64 presets. It's not that you can store as much as you want. You cannot do, 800. You can only do 64. Okay, so let's just do it. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go to grid recording. Now you can do function and then go to the machines, or if you want, you can hold the trigger and then go to the machines, and it will take you, to the preset menu. Now then you need to find the preset that you want. I'm gonna be using the tone. I'm gonna be using this one. I'm gonna change tracks. Why not? I'm gonna remove that one. I'm gonna go to this. We have the tone. And I'm going to be going to the, right here, I'm going to go to the sin. Why not? I'm going to enter there. And now we have all the different presets. Once you find something that you like, what you need to do is you need to hold the trigger, right? I'm going to add note, but I'm going to hold it. And then you need to push to load. And notice that the machines, this icon goes on. If I play it, we have that sound. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to add a note there. I'm going to hold it. Well, first, we can maybe audition a different bass. I'm going to use that one. I'm going to add the note trick. I'm going to hold it and then push to load. This goes on. And if I play it, now we have two presets. I'm going to add a note there and a note there. And right here, I'm going to be going to a different sound. Maybe that one. Push to load. Now we have that preset. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm gonna go to too loud. Now I like this one. I'm gonna load it. And there we go. Now you're loading 4 different presets. Now if I stop this and I go back, just go back to the root. Oh, went too far. I'm gonna do function and machines. I'm gonna keep going down and I'm gonna go to locks. And notice that you have your presets right there. So every time you add a preset lock, it will add it to that directory. So you can scroll all the different locks. And notice at the bottom, it says 64. And from here, you can also, if you do function, you can clear all the presets and so on and so on. I'm not going to do this, but you can clear all the locks if you wanted to. So that's how you do it. Now, if you want to change it, I'm going to go out. I'm going to hold this trick that I know that it has a lock, and I'm going to press the machines. If I press it, it takes you to the locks directory, right? So you can know which preset you're locking or which preset you're loading or you're playing right here. Same with this one. If I go there and press machines, oh, made a mistake right there. Is the SI-WA. Again, same with the other ones. I'm gonna hold this one, press machines, and it's the SY24 to something. Cool. If you want to remove a lock from your sequence, it's pretty much the same thing that we are doing. I'm gonna go to this one. I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna press the machines, and notice it's highlighted. So once it's highlighted, push the level data, and it goes back to the default. I'm going to do the same thing for this. I'm going to push it. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to remove it and then do the same and remove it. Now we are back to the boring default sound. Still, you don't lose the locks. They are still in the folder. So if you want to use them later, you can go back here and just use them. Okay, so that's locking pretty much. This is why the Elektron devices are so fun, because you can, do that motion recording, which already other devices can do. But then the preset locking, it's super special. All the Elektron devices can do this. I'm starting with the default pattern, and I'm going to be using the T6. It's going to be much easier to hear. I'm going to enable the gate so I can just play it and sustain it. Now, to enable the LFO, what you need to do is you need to go to the LFO setup, just press it, and you will have a bunch of options right there at the top. So first is going to be the waveform, then it's going to be the speed or the rate, the destination, because it's an LFO, you need to modulate something, and how aggressive it is. So if you want to choose a destination, you just need to enter and just choose the destination. You can see the lights right there. But, there's a tiny little trick. If you want for, the device to pretty much select the LFO destination for you, you can press and hold the LFO, and just by moving the param that you want to modulate, it's just going to select it. Now, if I play it, nothing happens. You need to get out and do a little bit of depth if you want to do some modulation. And I'm doing pitch modulation. You can go really aggressively, and you can go to positives, or you can go to negatives, depending on which waveform you are using, depending on what instruction you're trying to modulate. Then I'm going to go up, and I'm going to go to the mult. The mult is going to be the speed. And if I go down, it's going to be slower and slower. And if I go up, it's going to be faster. Now notice that you have an X. The X means that this is synced to whatever tempo is that you're using. But if you go to the non-X, it means that it's not locked or synced to whatever tempo is that you use. Alright, so I'm going to go to something like that, 16. I guess that sounds fine. Now, if I get out of here, you have different waveforms. You have the triangle, you have a sine wave, you have a square, you have a saw, which is a saw down, then you have an envelope. We're going to talk about this one in a minute. You have a ramp up, and then you have a random. Right, so I'm going to go back to, the triangle. Now, this is the first screen of the LFO. Now, of course, this was the LFO speed. It lets you set the speed of the LFO, and right here, the actual drawing. It's kind of cool. You can go faster or slower. Now, all of this depends on what information, what options you have on the LFO mult. If you have something faster, this control is going to scale whatever is that you have right here. If I go fast, and then I go here, it's going to go even faster. Right? So you always need to remember this. Now I'm going to go all the way down to 0. Notice that there's nothing. Alright, so I'm going to stay on 10. I'm going to go back to the LFO. I was already there. I'm going to go here. I'm going to change it to 16. And maybe, it's way too slow. I'm going to go a little bit faster. So now, we need to talk about the second page. If you do function and you tap the LFO, you go to the LFO setup, and this is a different screen. And right here, what you can do our RST, which is going to be reset. So notice that every time I play, notice that the LFO, it's super constant, but at the same time, it's just not re-triggering every time I play a note. So this is the reset. Once you click it or you check it, every time you play a key, it will restart every time you play a key. So it's resetting the waveform back to the initial starting point. And if you uncheck it, it's like a good old-fashioned type of LFO is running free the whole time. It's not re-triggering, and on means re-triggering. All right, so then we have the fade. Now the fade works a little bit weird. I'm gonna play it, and you can go into positives and you can go into negatives. So as soon as I go up, with lower values, you just don't get a lot. As I go up at 20, notice that at some point it's starting and then it's stopping. And if I go up, it's gonna be like super fast. It's a pitch, if I'm doing the pitch, it's super fast and then it's stopping. So it's super aggressive. If I go to the other way into negatives, it's the complete opposite. I'm gonna be playing, and maybe I'm gonna go up or maybe less. Let me find the right value. Maybe I'm gonna go up. There we go, 40. There we go. So notice that I play a key and it's not super aggressive. As I keep holding, it's gonna grow and grow and grow. Maybe I'm gonna do 50, so it's a little bit more obvious. I'm gonna play, it's static, and then it slowly starts to fade in. That's why it's called fade. Now it's kind of useful, but it works a little bit weird on this device. And this is an option that you usually get with a lot of synthesizers. But you know, I guess that's fine. And this one is really useful when you use the envelope. I'm going to show you in a second. And then you have the phase. Now, this again is an option that you get in most LFOs. You can change the start phase of the waveform. Instead of starting from the beginning of the waveform or the cycle, you start at some point of the cycle. Alright, so I guess all this is just very classic options. I want to show you something else. I want to show you what you can do with the envelope. If you keep scrolling, at some point, you're going to find something that says envelope. The envelope waveform is a one-shot type of waveform. And for example, if I play it now, it's like, you know, it's a tiny little pitch. It's going to detune it and then go back and stay right there. It's not going to loop back. It's not like an LFO. It's an envelope. That's why it's called envelope. So with this, what you can do, I'm going to be, you know, maybe removing the pitch from the destination. And I'm going to be going right here. I'm going to hold it. And I'm going to map the volume and distortion to this. I'm going to go right here at the top. And I'm going to select maybe 1 as a destination. I'm sorry, as a rate. If I go to the depth, I'm going to do a negative type of instruction. I'm going to go negative. I'm going to need to scroll a lot. If I play it, notice what happens. I play the key, you know, the pad, and the volume starts growing. So this is like a, you know, slow attack. On this device, you don't have an attack, you only have a decay. So this is a way of kind of mimicking you know, a slow attack. And the speed is going to be the rate. If I go up on speed, it's going to be much faster. And you know what? I'm going to go really aggressively on the depth. There we go. Now we have a more noticeable slow attack. And if I go to the rate, that is just a lot slower. Right? So this is a way again to work with a slow attack on this device because, you know, you don't have an attack. One more thing before we move on to the next one. If you go to the LFO, you can lock all the LFO options that you have right here. What you cannot lock is going to be the LFO setup options. To chain a pattern is like selecting a pattern. You need to go to pattern, then go to bank, and then select the pattern. Now I'm going to go to pattern. I'm going to hold it. Remember, we are on bank number 1. If you want to change banks, of course you can. The trick is that when you select the first pattern of your chain, you need to hold it. I'm going to select the 1. I'm going to be holding this one. Without releasing, I'm going to be pressing the second one. And right there is going to show you the chain. And I'm still holding this one. And now then maybe I'm going to be adding 2 of the A4. And then I'm going to be going to the 6. I'm going to add the 6. I'm going to keep it. And then maybe the end of the chain is going to be the A9. So the trick is that you never release the keys right here at the bottom. Now then when your chain is done, you just need to play it. And it's going to go through the whole chain. That's how it works. Now maybe you're wondering yourself, do we have a song mode like Digitone? No, you don't. You just can do chains. Now another thing that you need to remember is that you cannot store chains. So it's kind of a on-the-go type of deal. And once you turn it off or, you know, you go out, you know, it's going to forget the chain. Right? That's how it works. If I go to pattern and select one of the patterns, maybe the number 7, the chain is gone. And okay, we are almost done. I want to show you a couple more things. I want to start with a new project. I'm going to go all the way, you know, out. I'm going to go to the setup. And at some point, you're going to find something right here that says projects. Once inside the project, if you press enter, of course, you will have a list of all the projects available. In this case, I want to go to a new project. I'm going to press or push to load. I'm going to load it. And I'm going to say, it says save stock. In this case, I'm going to say no. And then it's going to say any changes, you know, you will lose. Yeah, of course, we lose the changes. It's going to start a new project. And this is what you will need to do the whole time whenever you want to work on something new. Now, something that you need to know is that when you work with a new project and you create a pattern, if you don't save the project at least once, and then you don't save the patterns, every time you go out, you lose them. And there's no going back. So you need to save it. In this case, I'm, loading a new project, so I want to save it. So what you need to do, you need to go to config, and again, you have the projects option. If I go to projects, you can see the projects right there, and I'm going to select my new project, and I'm going to be doing push, and it's asking you load, save, or delete. In this case, we want to save. Since the name is the default one, I'm going to be selecting a new name, and we already know how to do this. I'm going to delete the characters, and I'm going to be doing, made a mistake. There we go. I'm going to do, I don't know, XMB, the name of the channel. Why not? Why not? Now, once it's done, you need to push to confirm, and I'm going to say yes, and then the project is saved. And if you go out, notice just XMB, you're just back to the beginning. If you created a pattern and you save the project that way, you're gonna be able to retrieve those patterns later. Now the same thing goes to for the patterns. If I create a pattern, something simple and silly, right? So if I create something like this, when you save the project, you're gonna be saving the pattern. But you can also, save the pattern. I'm going to be going to settings, and when you go to settings, you have the project, but you also have the pattern. We already know this. When you enter inside pattern, you have all data, and actually this is my mistake. I'm going to go there. There we go. So when you enter the pattern, you have 4 options. Rename the pattern, but if you created a pattern and you never saved it, why renaming? And then you have save, and then you have reload, and then you have clear. We already know the clear. We've been using it, but in this case, what I want to do, I want to save it. And when you save it, you're going to be renaming it. It's going to ask you for a name. And the only option is going to be reload. I'm going to show you this in a minute. In this case, I want to save. I'm going to be saving this, and it will ask you, the name of the pattern. I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to call it KL something like that. It doesn't matter. I'm going to save the pattern, and it's going to ask you, do you want to? Yes, I'm going to confirm, and the pattern was saved to the project. So if you get out of the project and you load a new one, or you turn the machine off and then back on, the pattern, it's saved. Now, one more thing that you get on the patterns, when you go to the pattern, notice that you have something that says reload. Since we saved the pattern, what I can do right now, if I play it back, I just can add something else. And what I'm doing, I'm just modifying the pattern. Maybe I'm not going to do this one because it sounds weird. I'm going to do something like that. So I changed the pattern. This is not the pattern that's stored in memory. So what if I wanted to go back and reload the pattern? Well, that's the reload. I'm going to go there and go to reload. I'm going to say, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. And it's going back to the last version, or the saved version of this pattern in memory. And to finish, you have something else called temporary save. This is actually super useful. So I'm going to be playing something, and I'm going to go to function. And I want you to look at the screen. I'm going to do function, and I'm going to be going to the settings, and I'm going to tap it. And as soon as you do so, it's going to say pattern save to the temp area. This means that this is storing in memory, not permanently, is temporary. It's saving it and creating a restore point. And that's the key word, restore point. So now, what you can do, you can maybe go right here, make some changes. It doesn't matter. I can even go wild. Maybe go here, just do something again crazy. We can. And now, what happens is that you made some changes, but maybe you want to go back to that restore point. You can, because you created a restore point. So now, how to go back is going to be function, and then you need to go to the pattern right here. And when you go to the pattern, you reload the previous version, whatever you did on that restore point, whatever you stored. Now, whenever you do this, you create a restore point, and you go back. It's not really saving it on the project or on the pattern. So, you don't really save it. Everything happens on the RAM, the temporary memory. That's why it's called temporary save. And okay, so that's it. It's it's a tiny little device, but you can do a lot of things. And this is why, this video is so long, because you can do so much. I will be uploading maybe a different video just showing the conditionals, something that you really need to know if you want to master your patterns. Now, if you liked all of this and you learned something new, please like and subscribe. This channel is supported by viewers only. If you want to buy me a coffee to say thanks and help the channel keep going on, you can. You have links at the description for PayPal, YouTube Thanks, and Patreon.